Good morning, everybody. This is the infomercial portion of the program. This is going to be very quick. We were expecting that there were going to be significant changes to the overtime laws before the new administration came in. And now, since he's very unpredictable, we don't know when and if this change is going to happen. But right now, there's an issue as to whether or not the new regulations, which, if some of you may be aware, was going to increase salary requirements for somebody who's exempt from overtime to $47,000 versus what it is now, which is roughly $23,000 and change. That's all on hold. There was an injunction entered. The Department of Labor's reply brief is due on June 30th, 2017. The Department of Labor is deciding now whether it's going to continue along with the case. It's got to make a decision whether or not it's going to rescind the program, go ahead with the litigation or not. And the key issue in the case is what the concern is whether or not that new salary requirement of the $47,000 and change effectively set up a new test, which was a de facto salary test. What Congress had established in the statute was that whether or not you were exempt was dependent upon the duties of the employees. And that is what is up there was the EAP, which is executive, administrative, and professional. There are also some tests for computer, outside sales, and highly compensated. But those are the keys. You have to have an employee fit as either an executive capacity, administrative, or professional. The statute's pretty particular about how you meet that standard. I don't have time to go into that today. That was a topic that we went over last year. But the concern here is that when they set the salary at $47,000, that essentially put a threshold. That itself was a separate test. And the contention is that under the legislation, the DOL was not allowed to add an additional test like that. And that's what the fight's about. Remains to be seen where that's going to end up, but it's the way it was, as the way it has been now for a number of years. You got to meet those tests. One thing to keep in mind, a lot of people think that salary is the key, that if I pay my employee a salary, they're exempt. That's not the case. They have to fit into a qualification of executive, administrative, professional, computer, highly paid. Those are the possible outcomes I mentioned, which is the legislation that Congress delays or blocks the rule, or the Department of Labor abandons it or rescinds the rule.